Howdy, my name is Daxio, and this is Plugged In News. And in today's pin update, we have journalists could face up to 14 years in prison for stories embarrassing the government under proposed changes to the Official Secrets Act that would treat them like foreign spies. And for the next story, we have 3 hurt in shootings during Milwaukee NBA Finals celebrations. And for the last one, we have Senate blocks $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill. Let's get right into that. And for the first story today, we have from the dailymail.com by David Wilcock. It is journalists could face up to 14 years in prison for stories embarrassing the government under proposed changes to the Official Secret Act that would treat them like foreign spies. And this is a crazy story. It goes on to read, journalists could face prison sentences up to 14 years for stories that embarrass the government under plans to reform the Official Secrets Act. Under a consultation run by Priti Patel's home office, which closes later this week, reporters who leaked documents would not have a defense if charged under new laws designed to clamp down on foreign agents. The 1989 Act is being updated to take into account the impact of the internet age, especially in the area of speedy data transfer. Human rights organizations and the Law Commission, which drew up the proposals, said there should be a public interest defense included to prevent the prosecution of journalists who receive leaked documents. But in a paper release for the consultation, the Home Office said such a move would undermine our efforts to prevent damaging, unauthorized disclosures, which would not be in the public interest. And obviously it would be in the public interest because we enjoy those whistleblowers. We like those whistleblowers because we want to know what the government is doing behind our backs, and they don't want us to know. Anyways, it goes on to read, among those who have criticized the new laws are the Index on the Censorship, and the Open Rights Group, who view it as an attack on whistleblowers. A spokesperson for the National Union of Journalists said, existing legislation distinguishes provisions and penalties between those who leak or whistleblow, those who receive leak information, and foreign spies. The government proposes to eliminate or blur these distinctions. The government also wants to increase the maximum penalties that journalists might suffer for receiving leaked material from 2 to 14 years. Yeah, this is just the government wanting to take more control, wanting less privacy. What is it? The First Amendment, freedom of the press, right? Freedom of speech, and the government wants to take that away more. So, all right. And for our next story today, this comes from the New York Post by Amanda Woods, and it is 3 hurt in shootings during Milwaukee NBA Finals celebration. It goes on to read, 3 people were shot early Wednesday during a wild night of partying in Milwaukee where thousands took to the streets to celebrate the Bucks' NBA championship win over the Phoenix Suns. Congrats, by the way, Milwaukee Bucks. Good job. The team's first since 1971. Both shootings were across the Milwaukee River from the Fiserv Forum, where nearly 17,000 fans watched the 105-98 Game 6 win, and about 65,000 more cheered at an outdoor watch party. The shootings happened around 12:40 a.m. at 2 locations near Water Street, one of the city's prime nightlife thoroughfares. Local TV station WISN was reporting live from the scene when multiple shots rang out, prompting dozens of people to run for cover. In one shooting in the 200th block of East Janus Street, a 19-year-old woman and a 32-year-old man suffered non-threatening injuries. One suspect is in custody while others are being sought, according to police. In another, on the 200th block of East Knapp Street, a 22-year-old man was hurt and is also expected to survive, authorities have told the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. A suspect is in custody, authorities said. The circumstances leading up to the holdings and the shootings are under investigation. The violence came after Giannis Antetokounmpo put a cherry atop his NBA Finals performance, dropping 50 points as his team took the series 4-2. Again, congratulations, Bucks. Alright, and for our last story today, this comes from Breitbart, and it is by Sean Moran. It is Senate blocks the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill. And I believe I reported on this a while ago, maybe even back in like April or something, but it's finally got through to the Senate, and they blocked it, which is a good thing. Anyways, it goes on to read, the Senate blocked the legislative vehicle for the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill on Wednesday. The Senate blocked H.R. 3684, the legislative vehicle for the bipartisan infrastructure bill, with 49 votes in favor of advancing it and 51 against. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer held the vote on bipartisan infrastructure bill, even though it appeared that not enough Senate Republicans would support the measure. Senate Democrats that continued to negotiate the bipartisan deal, such as Senator Kyrsten Sinema, John Tester, and Joe Manchin, voted to advance the bill. Senator Bill Cassidy and Rob Portman, who are involved in the negotiations, voted against advancing the legislative vehicle. Many Senate Republicans involved with the bipartisan infrastructure negotiations contended that they needed more time to negotiate the finer points of legislation. Senate Republicans, congressional Democrats, and President Joe Biden continue to negotiate on the details of the roughly $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill, even though there is no legislative text for the bill. The bipartisan infrastructure bill's failure follows Senator Ron Johnson, along with Senator Rick Scott, Marsha Blackburn, Mike Lee, Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, Mike Braun, Cynthia Lummis, and Bill Hagerty, leading a statement urging the bill's defeat. The Senate conservatives said in a statement last week that by supporting the bipartisan infrastructure bill framework, they would only enable Democrats to pass their gargantuan $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill. In an interview with Breitbart News this week, Johnson contended that Senate Republicans that continued to negotiate with Democrats on the infrastructure bill would only be complicit in enabling the Democrats' leftist agenda and allowing for even more inflation. Johnson told Breitbart News that if Republicans are cooperative and complicit with the $1 trillion bipartisan bill, the Democrat bill is just going to be backfilled with more long-term entitlements, welfare, liberal, radical, wish list spending proposals. And so, as we wrote in our press release, joining the Democrats in this bipartisan infrastructure bill enables the reckless tax and spending spree on party Democrats. So I don't understand why any Republican would want to be complicit in doing that. And this is great that this got blocked, just as Mr. Johnson said, or Senator Johnson said, it would only be backfilled with more long-term entitlements. So all the stuff like Pakistani gender programs, like why do we want money going to that? Because I'm pretty sure not the $1.9 million is what we were getting, but we were also going to send a lot more money out to other countries, maybe. But either which way, this would have brought up our inflation even more because our inflation is going through the roof right now. I'm probably going to report on that tomorrow or some other time because apparently groceries are going up 15%. So this is the last thing we need, is more money being printed. Anyways, if you guys did enjoy today's video, please drop a like, drop a sub down below. Also drop a comment, let me know how I'm doing, let me know what I can do to improve, and don't forget to stay plugged in and updated. Peace out, boys.